Good evening and a very warm welcome to your platform on NewsX. Speak Out India, I'm Akshay Tandon. If you're from Delhi, you would probably trail an ambulance to cut through a jam. If you're in Mumbai, you wouldn't even bother giving way to an ambulance. But something happened in Chennai that borders on the unthinkable and has set an example for other cities to report and follow. Chennai came to a halt for 14 minutes so that an ambulance driver could deliver a donated heart to save a young woman. The mission was a success and has set an example for others on how clockwork, precision and impeccable coordination can help those battling with life and death.
It took 14 minutes and a heart of gold to save a life in Chennai. The plot lifted straight from a Tamil blockbuster to transport a dead man's beating heart over 12 kilometers to be transplanted into a young woman, giving her a new life. Look at this. The ambulance given a rite of passage by the Chennai police. Zipping through a 12-kilometer stretch in just 14 minutes in a signal-free corridor created by the cops.
1:35 p.m. and we are on Kamarajar Salai and still have 5 kilometers to reach the destination. A team of 26 police personnel guarded the 12-kilometer stretch, creating a green corridor that enabled the ambulance to travel in the speed between 80 km per hour to 100 km per hour. A police pirate vehicle served as a convoy for the ambulance that helped in easing the traffic congestion.
So this is how it was done. The heart had to be transported from the Government General Hospital near the Chennai Central Railway Station to the Fortis Malar Hospital in the suburbs of the city. At 6:44 p.m., the ambulance left the government hospital. The Chennai cops had switched off all red lights and sanitized the 12-kilometer route. With the decks cleared, the ambulance quickly touched a top speed of 100 kilometers per hour. That's a speed unimaginable in Chennai or any other city for that matter in India. The driver of the ambulance hit just one roadblock in the form of an MTC bus near Muthuswamy Road. The driver overtook the bus from the wrong side to overcome his problem. And within just 14 minutes, he arrived at his destination with a beating heart. A journey that would have taken at least an hour to cover was covered in a mere 14 minutes. All thanks to the Chennai police.
100 to 90 ஸ்பீட்ல வந்தேன். போலீஸ்காரங்க கொஞ்சம் ஒத்துழைப்பு கொடுத்தனால என்னால கொஞ்சம் வேகமா வர முடிஞ்சது. ஒரு பொண்ணோட நான் கொஞ்சம் ஸ்பீடா வந்தேன்.
The parents of the girl who received the heart transplant are grateful.
It is not very easy in a traffic time in the evening when you are wanting to go home to be pushed at one side and asked to wait till something takes place. It is really very commendable. Thankful to everybody from the bottom of my heart.
Transplanting and transporting a heart is not an easy task. In the United States, paramedics use choppers to avoid traffic. But in a third world country like India, that's not possible.
The other cities, it's not happening. So obviously Tamil Nadu has taken the initiative, and they are also creating awareness among the public, among the donors.
Chennai has shown India that it's not just the gods who save lives. Sometimes men with good intentions do just the same. Bureau Report, NewsX.
So tonight we ask you on Speak Out India, can India follow what happened in Chennai? Express yourselves tonight on the numbers flashing on your screens 01204369420 and speak your mind out on this incredible story coming in from Chennai. Also joining me on the show tonight, I have with me Mr. Sanjay Raj, MD of the AA Foundation for Road Safety, and I have with me Dr. Jayanti Datta, clinical psychologist, joining us in the studio. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming in. But before I go across to you, let's go across to a couple of people joining us tonight. Ms. Usha Rao from Bangalore, Mayuri from Chennai. Mayuri, kindly stay with us. Ms. Rao, kindly go ahead.
Yes. You know, where there is a will, there is a way, Akshay, literally. That's when we thought that human values were getting eroded rapidly in our country. Comes this news from Chennai to warm the cockles of our hearts, to dispel the general gloom and despondency prevailing in the country, what with the rising crime rate against women and children and the tragic killing of the Delhi traffic cop, which we just discussed yesterday on your channel. You know, the Chennai incident proves that all is not lost yet. that there is a ray of hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel, or shall we say at the end of the road. If Chennai could do it, why not the rest of India?
Absolutely.
It can be replicated in the rest of the country as well, you know. In most of the big cities, including here in Bangalore, we have seen ambulances desperately trying to weave their way through heavy traffic, but are unable to do so because the other motorists don't give a damn about helping them
Absolutely.
get the right of way. Chennai has shown us the way now. All we need is the will to help and a big heart. Let us remember, if it is someone else in that ambulance today, it could be any of us tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much indeed, Ms. Rao, for calling in. Mayuri joining us from Chennai. What do you have to say about the great city of yours and this example that stood out tonight? Mayuri.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
The entire country should be proud of this act which Chennai has done, and this should pave way for many such transplantations. But this kind of method...
What do you have to say about the great city of yours and this example that stood out tonight? Mayuri.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
The entire country should be proud of this act which Chennai has done, and this should pave way for many such transplantations. But this kind of method may not be feasible always, and we should start making use of higher technologies such as drones for much faster transportations without affecting the city's routine.
Okay, good suggestion coming in. Thanks very much for calling in, ma'am. Mayuri. Let me begin by asking you, Dr. Jayanti Datta, your first response when you read about these stories and the visuals, of course, we are showing you. Isn't it simply incredible?
It is brilliant. See, all it needs is the will and the consonance in your thought processes. This coordination, the police people did not think it's a medical problem. Let the hospitals think about it. So there was a link, and everybody was interested to see that it comes through. And that kind of willpower, that kind of consonant thinking comes when you have that we feeling, that sense of belonging.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in Delhi, we don't have that. And it's not a big deal. One can make it, you have the Barapulla, and that can be connected with AIMS, that can be connected with Mulchand, Safdarjung, and you just have to have that kind of a thought and a linkage.
Like the last caller said, if there is a will, there is a way. Let's bring in Mr. N. Santanam joining us from Delhi. Please go ahead, sir. Speak your mind out.
Hello, Santanam speaking.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Sir, I am very happy that Chennai, I should congratulate the ambulance crew and the Chennai police. Yes, it's really a good thing that the roads are very clear in Chennai. But this was not there earlier, prior to 10 years. The present government is to be commented upon. And no doubt, the Chennai is a role model for other states.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for calling in, sir. Let me go across to Mr. Raj. What do you read of this particular, this incredible story coming in, Mr. Raj? Because it's not just about what the doctors have done today. It's the precise coordination between the traffic police officers and, of course, the two hospitals involved that has led to this successful, heartwarming story. Mr. Raj.
Yeah, Akshay, because I agree with you, because this is not only the endeavor of the people as everybody is putting it. One thing which cannot be overlooked is that the roads are clean, You don't find roads broken at places, because that itself is a hindrance. In Delhi right now, the state is such that even if you clear the roads like Chennai, your unfinished projects are going to delay that much. And you can't have a stretch of 11 kilometers done in 14 minutes. Is just impossible in Delhi with the kind of road state right now what the city is in or the state is in. So that is a big issue of road safety when you fix it up, that not only it is safe driving, but you need well-constructed roads also.
Because according to reports, this ambulance could reach a speed of 100 kilometers per hour while it was on that so-called green corridor. And that's only permissible if the roads allow you to, if the road design is such. So there is a need to perhaps have this particular green corridor, like you were mentioning, Dr. Jayanti Datta. We need such corridors in big, why just big cities across the country, in various cities across.
And it can be done.
It can be done. There has to be a political will to be able to address this particular issue.
And you have to have that kind of a coordinating models, which Chennai has shown already, that if you want, you can do it. You can do it. But that coordination between the traffic police and the other gentry, who are traveling. Here in Delhi, you don't even have that feeling, that fellow feeling. You see the ambulance coming, nobody is willing to give you the way.
Yes.
And if you want, you certainly in such wide roads, I agree with him, maybe the roads are not all right, but if you want to make it, you certainly can make out a, you can find out a
let's hope India learns.
Sweden has it.
Let's hope India learns with this. I'm coming back to you, Mr. Raj. I have two more people joining us on the show. I'll come back to you. Please, we have Dayanand joining us from Hosur and Subramanian from Chennai. Subramanian, kindly stay with us. Dayanand, please go ahead. Speak your mind out tonight.
Hello, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hello. Hats off to Tamil Nadu Police Department, ensuring a
Indeed.
speedy reach of the patient to the hospital.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say, Dayana?
Yeah, it is a wonderful job by Police Department, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks very much for calling in. Subramaniam joining us from Chennai. Please go ahead.
Sir, I am very proud to hear this, and we are deserved to more than this. Actually, we people are very, whenever we are hearing some noise of ambulance behind us, generally we have a habit of immediately giving the road to them. But I never found such a type of habit in other states. I am not finding it. We are deserved to do much more than this. And really, I feel very proud about it.
Yes, thanks very much for calling in. Thanks very much for calling in. Mr. Raj, you wanted to comment. Another point that we were trying to make is that, in cities like Chennai, perhaps other disciplined cities I'd like to call, if there is an ambulance, people would make way for it. In Delhi, I have witnessed this many a time. We would want to go behind the ambulance because we would expect it to make way for itself and we can trail the ambulance.
Here, I would like to say, I'll agree with what Jayanti just said. The culture of the place also depends. There is a solidarity feeling amongst the people out there. Here you have a metro. Metro means there's a heterogeneous crowd out here and people of different cultures forever clashing with each other. So there is no integrity, That is why we have a Delhi culture which is unique. It's got a unique standing in the whole world, not a good way, in a bad way. So that is why what you're saying is right. Nobody gives passes to anybody. Leave alone an ambulance. If there was an incident about 2 days back, somebody on the road, shouting for help. It came on one of the channels and no car stopped for at least 2-3 hours. That man was bleeding. So that is Delhi.
There is no feeling of oneness is what you're saying. Okay, I want to go across. Let me go to a couple of callers, ma'am. I'll come back to you, please. Rajpal joining us from Mumbai. Please go ahead, speak your mind out. Rajpal.
Akshay ji, I must congratulate the Chennai traffic police for the excellent arrangement they have made for clearing the traffic, and also the driver who had overtaken the bus and covered the distance of 45 minutes in just 14 minutes.
Yes.
It is a commendable job. Both the traffic police officers and the driver must be rewarded, and I wish all traffic police people in India must act like this so that so many lives are saved and so many good things happen here.
Yes. Well, thanks very much for calling in, Mr. Rajpal. Let's pay credit to the man himself, C. Kathir, who was the seasoned ambulance driver who was chosen on this mission, made this successful. C. Kathir was the man behind the wheels. Dr. Jayanti, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, I would say even in Delhi, the coordination, you forget, even the red lights, they don't operate regularly. There is no checking. Sometimes, you are stuck up for more than 15-20 minutes in a red light, this thing, and then you realize, oh, the red light is not working. So you don't even bother to check and maintain them, monitor them. So Chennai, the hats off, as somebody said, to the traffic police. They are not only disciplined, they know, they understand what task they have to do. And that sense of responsibility is something which has to dawn in.
Absolutely. Padma joining us from Chennai. Please go ahead, speak your mind out, ma'am.
Calling from Chennai,
yes,
and just carrying this entire thing a little further, I'm going to suggest how do we spread it all over India? This mindset needs to change, because today we saw a mindset which is exemplary. I think for this we should shift schools from being cooperative rather than competitive.
All right.
And I think that way the next generation will, I think, learn to be cooperative when there's a need, rather than being competitive and say, can I go in front of that
well said.
ambulance?
Be cooperative than competitive is what you're saying, Ms. Padma. Thank you very much indeed for calling in, ma'am. Mr. Raj, if I can come back to you, let's try and understand why is this not possible. We would hope it to be possible across the country. What is required for our roads and our people, to authorities to understand that we need to respect our lives a little more, for which we need corridors like this one? Mr. Raj.
You see, Akshay, getting corridors in a limited space and overpopulated country, and you home down to Delhi, see the number of cars in Delhi, and you want a separate corridor. They tried it during Commonwealth Games. There's a lot of resentment among the people. Although they left the corridor, they had no choice for the teams to go through, but it was not a very welcome sign. Everybody suffered, all officers suffered. Even people in hospitals were not reaching on time, patients suffered, everybody suffered during that process of 15 days of those Commonwealth Games. So you can't have a separate corridor because we have a very limited space here.
No, but as compared to Mumbai, Mr. Raj, I mean, Delhi has far much more space than Mumbai. So you're saying something that is just not possible.
But
I think
the number of cars in Delhi,
sir, but
five
cities like bigger cities like in China and in Taiwan, you know what do you have? You have a flyover over a flyover. There are multiple flyovers, 6, 7. I have seen it. There are 6, 7 flyovers. It's just about
but actually, there has to be some time for these flyovers to get finished. You know, in India, you start a flyover for 10 years. The single flyover is not being constructed.
So where does that's my question to you? Where is this really?
That is obvious. You see the government coming in.
Is this going to political will? Is this going to the fact that life has no priority, life has no respect, life has no value in India? Is that what it's telling us?
I would put it that way. It's purely these highway construction is part of the political game. And it is the money they have to release and it has to go there. If you don't give the money there, the highways are not going to be constructed. So that's what I can see. That these incomplete highways are because of money not being siphoned into it and going elsewhere.
Dr. Janti, what do you think?
You have to have a vision. And you have to have a willpower and see through it. It's not just having a corridor. I don't agree with Mr. Raj when he says, you know, in Delhi you don't have a space. You have all these flyovers. Look at ITO crossing. You never thought that you could have this kind of, you know, roads emerging from there and your metro running. So if you really have a vision and you want it to see that it materializes, certainly. Having a corridor is a first step. Second is the respect for the lives. You know, you might take the patient from one point to the other, but when the patient reaches the hospital, there is it's total negligence.
Absolutely.
So there also you have to monitor. As I said in the beginning, there has to be a consonant thinking, there has to be a coordination, and there has to be that kind of a monitoring, you know, that chain should be there.
Absolutely. Let me go across to Vijay, who is joining us from Bangalore. Please go ahead, speak your mind out, Vijay.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I have a very sound solution and a simple solution, and I have been trying to convey this for quite a long time.
Go ahead, sir.
It is all ambulances, whenever there is a serious patient, like heart attack or something, that has to be accompanied by 2 motorists. Okay.
Yes.
These 2 motorists, they travel ahead of the ambulance and see that traffic signal wherever there is a blockage, changing the signal to the green and passing, and even otherwise where there are small crosses where there are traffic jams, especially Bangalore is very famous for traffic jams.
Right.
Even in such cases, they can go ahead.
You're saying that ambulance should have escorts which should take care of the traffic around you, but what do you do in peak hours, like in this particular case of Chennai, when the ambulance had to travel in peak hours in the evening around 6:30 p.m.? Well, that's where the traffic police really steps in. But thanks very much indeed, Mr. Vijay, for a suggestion. Sharanya joining us from Chennai. Please go ahead, speak your mind out.
Hi, I'm so happy I got the chance to talk to you. I've been trying to call you for a long time.
I'm glad to. Go ahead.
I saw this news and I'm so happy that this happened in Chennai. It's absolutely not possible to travel from the general hospital to Adyar in less than 1 hour. So I'm quite surprised about it. I just want to say 2 things before I keep the phone down. Thanks a lot for the traffic police. The police in Chennai are absolutely amazing.
Yes.
So thanks for the traffic police and the general police, and thank you so much for the chief minister. It's such a safe place. Seriously, I can go out anytime I want. There are police everywhere. It's absolutely amazing.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks very much for calling in, Sharanya. Dr. Jayanti Datta, the last voice you must have heard, so much hope in the lady's voice who called in today. She sounded so happy and such goodwill that is coming for traffic police in Chennai. I mean, if people have to speak about traffic police in Delhi, we know what people have to say about traffic police in Delhi.
Take home for me is the police can definitely show this kind of morale.
Yes.
And Delhi police needs to, you know, be taught about this kind of an exemplary manifestation of the people in uniform. Certainly you can induce that in Delhi police also. Delhi police has been, you know, in the target for quite some time.
Yes.
In spite of that, I don't think any significant changes have been brought about. And I repeat, it's not easy to monitor, you know, this distance which they have covered within 14 minutes.
Yes.
It's certainly incredible.
Absolutely.
And it is achievable, provided you want to. As I said, in Delhi, you have so many major hospitals. All you have to do is set your mind and decide that this is the route.
Like you said, you need to have a vision. You need to have a clear vision on that. Okay, I want to bring in another caller, then I'm going to Mr. Raj. Chandrakala is joining us from Bangalore. Please go ahead, speak your mind out. Chandrakala. Okay, we seem to have lost the caller for the time being, but do call us again if you're still listening to us, Chandrakala. Mr. Raj, let's try and understand about the problem of infrastructure. You were saying that in a city like Delhi, there is not enough space, but to do something like that, there has to be political will. Now, I want to understand from you where road constructions are concerned. Projects take forever and forever, which also cause a lot of inconvenience to people. But, for example, Delhi Metro. We saw how it came up in Delhi. Did it cause much of an inconvenience? No.
No,
it was done in a very, very systematic, pragmatic way, right? Similarly, these things can also come up if they are thought after, isn't it?
You see, Delhi Metro was what I would say is an achievement by its own, because it was a separate body doing it. Here, when you go on to roads, flyovers were started when the NDA government was in power, that is, about 10 years earlier, or maybe 11 years.
Yes, yes.
And they haven't been completed as yet fully. Pavements have not been done. Things are still unfinished in a way. So 10, 11 years is a hell of a lot of time, whereas metros have done a tremendous job. That's something very commendable, and what you're saying is right. We must learn from metros and set up a body for these roads to be developed into 1 tier, 2 tier, 3 tiers, and make it beaching.
Absolutely, why not? Absolutely. Let me go across to Bala, who's joining us from Chennai. Go ahead, speak your mind out, Bala.
Hi, I'm proud to be calling as a Chennaiite.
Yes, sir.
This is an instance where this has happened. In fact, about 2 years back, if you recall,
yes,
an 8-year-old kid was killed, and the distance traveled was about 50 kilometers in 12 minutes. And
yes,
the coordination was only between the cops. There's nobody else involved in it.
Yes.
I'm sure this should be there in other cities as well.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks very much, sir, for calling in. Dr. Jayanti Datta, also let's talk about the role of, the administration.
Only between the cops. There's nobody else involved in it.
Yes.
I'm sure this should be there in other cities as well.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks very much, sir, for calling in. Dr. Jayanti Datta, also let's talk about the role of, the administration per se, because in terms of a city like Delhi, we're discussing Delhi because we all are from the city, so we know this better. But in a city like Delhi, there is so much confusion about where exactly the Delhi police also reports. It doesn't report to the chief minister, it reports to the home minister, union home minister. Right now, there is no government in Delhi. Looking at the political scenario also and the chaos about how power-hungry we are, sometimes we seem to forget how important it is to protect and preserve and respect life, isn't it?
The common man has to take the brunt, because the conflict between the political conflicts, takes its toll on the easy target, the scapegoat, that is the common man.
Yes.
Nobody thinks about the common man. Look at the scenario in Delhi. What happens is change of power, again, the brutalization will be on the common man. We are not getting the electricity. Water is not there. Now, you think of achieving this kind of a feat, it's unthinkable. But it is feasible, it is possible if you want to. Because if you can have metros here in Delhi, I'm sure you can have a corridor like this to connect it to the hospitals and make sure that when these kind of ambulances are flying, and there is a coordination between the uniformed people as well as the infrastructure which you maintain in those kind of corridors.
Yes, in fact, Mr. Raj, there was this news very recently, a couple of days ago, of the fact that there is an entire corridor being built for the Prime Minister from his residence to the airport and to the Palam airport. There is this corridor into making so that he has no convenience to the citizens of the national capital when he can just go directly from his residence to the airport. Require a special corridor is being built. Now, when they can come up with something like that to make sure that there is no convenience for citizens, what about saving a life or two with such corridors?
Yeah, we see, if you make a corridor for the Prime Minister, the size and the dimensions would be used by anybody. For that matter, it can be used by anybody. Why make it for the Prime Minister?
Yes.
Prime Minister could use a helicopter. You see, there's just no problem. Have that corridor, what Jayanti is saying, dedicated for these hospitals and using them for these road safety victims which happen, and they need to be attended very immediately, that corridor should be at priority for such people rather than for the VVIPs.
Yes,
absolutely.
Makes no sense.
Drive down on the Dholakwan road, which we very often do. All of a sudden, you see the black cats halting your car, and for half an hour, you are stranded. Nobody bothers because some VIP is supposedly traveling on that route. So, and if you are in a hurry, you also have to reach
this story,
They will just halt you, and they will.
Thankfully, this story says that you don't have to be a VIP in this country. There is some hope that has come in with this story from Chennai. We have Sachin, also a resident of Chennai, who's calling in. Sachin, what would you like to say about your traffic police and the work that they have done, and also the hospitals who made sure that there was perfect coordination between all the authorities involved? Sachin. Go ahead, Sachin, we can hear you. Sachin, are you with us over the telephone line? Okay, request you to call us again. Dr. Jayanti, I want to understand from you, what is this story tell us about the ray of hope that I was talking to? We in India, time and again, we have discussed this on this very platform, that there is no any respect for life, human life in this, because it's so cheaply available. What does this story tell us today? And what sort of an impact and realization does this give us?
It gives us a lot of hope. you can always take it as an example that yes, as I said, it is feasible, it is achievable. All you need, you have the infrastructure. All you need is the vision and your willpower that yes, I will see that this gets done. And as I said, that it's not only the roads which are to be taken into cognizance, you have to take into cognizance the administration and the facilities in the hospitals. Now we have a new government, new minister. I think if he decides that yes, he will take to task if the hospitals are, showing negligence to these kind of, very many people, they lose their life not because of traveling, but because of negligence at the hospital
Absolutely. But there is a lot of hope with this administration, and let's just hope that India can follow what Chennai has shown us today. We'll leave it at that. But thanks very much indeed, Dr. Jayanti and Mr. Raj and all the callers for participating on Speak Out India. That's all for the moment. Headlines and top stories to continue.